There are 4 things your body can do when it detects danger. It can fight, it can flee, it can freeze. And if none of those will work, if the threat is bigger than you, if running isn't possible, if freezing won't make it pass, your body has one final option. It appeases. This is the fawn response, the trauma response that doesn't look like a trauma response. It looks like agreeableness, like kindness, like being easy to get along with. But underneath the compliance, the system isn't being kind. It's surviving. It's calculating in real time what the threatening person needs to hear in order to stand down. And it's producing that thing, the agreement, the apology, the laugh, the yielding. Not because it's true, but because it's safe. The fawn response was installed in a household where someone was unpredictable. A parent whose anger arrived without warning. A caregiver whose mood could shift the temperature of the entire house. And the child, too small to fight, too dependent to flee, too visible to freeze, learned the 4th option. Become whatever they need me to be, right now, so the danger passes. This video is about the 10 signs that the fawn response is still running your interactions. Not all of them. The specific ones where someone's displeasure, anger, or intensity activates a survival protocol that looks like cooperation but feels like disappearing. Because fawning is not people-pleasing. People-pleasing is about approval. Fawning is about safety. And the difference matters more than most people realize. Number 1, someone raises their voice or shows displeasure, and you shapeshift. The cause. In the original household, anger was the signal that danger was imminent, and the child learned that the fastest way to neutralize danger was to become whatever the angry person needed. If they needed agreement, you agreed. If they needed submission, you submitted. If they needed someone to blame, you offered yourself. The shapeshifting wasn't performance. It was survival engineering. The body reconfiguring itself in real time to match the threat. The effect: around calm people, you're yourself. Around angry or intense people, you vanish. A different version appears, softer, smaller, more agreeable, more accommodating, and you don't choose the switch. The fawn reflex chooses it for you, faster than your conscious mind can intervene. The person standing in front of the angry colleague or the frustrated partner isn't you. It's the survival version. And the survival version will say anything, agree to anything, become anything, as long as the anger stops. Number 2, someone says something you fundamentally disagree with and you nod. The cause. In the original system, disagreement was dangerous, not intellectually, physically, emotionally, existentially. Disagreeing with the volatile person didn't produce a conversation. It produced escalation. So the child system deleted disagreement from the available responses when threat was present. Agreement became the only safe output. The effect: when someone is upset, your actual opinion evaporates. You hear yourself saying you're right to things you don't believe, I understand to things that don't make sense. Of course, to requests that violate your boundaries. The compliance isn't belief. It's a tactical concession to end the threat. And afterward, when the danger is past and the real you resurfaces, you feel the particular shame of having agreed to something that betrayed your own position. Not because you're weak. Because the fawn reflex was faster than your integrity. And the shame has a specific texture. It's not the shame of lying. It's the shame of watching yourself agree to something your whole body knew was wrong and being unable to stop it. The fawn reflex overrode you, in real time, in front of witnesses, and you couldn't intervene in your own response. That's not weakness. That's a survival system that learned. Disagreeing with the dangerous person costs more than betraying yourself. Number 3, something goes wrong and you absorb the fault. Not because it's yours, because claiming it is faster than letting the conflict continue. The cause. In the original household, Unresolved conflict was more dangerous than undeserved blame. The child who said, "It's my fault," deactivated the tension faster than the child who said, "That's not fair." Fairness was a luxury the system couldn't afford. Speed was the priority, and absorbing blame was the fastest available de-escalation tool. The effect: you apologize for things you didn't do. You accept responsibility for outcomes you didn't create. You say, "You're right, I'm sorry." With a fluency that comes from thousands of repetitions in a childhood where the alternative to absorbing blame was absorbing something worse. And people around you either think you're very accountable or very guilty. They don't know you're neither. You're just fast. The fastest conflict ender in any room. Because you were trained by a system where slow meant unsafe. Number 4. You can tell what someone is feeling before they've said a word, not because you're empathic, because you were trained to detect danger at the earliest possible signal. The cause: the child who could read the parent's micro-expression, the jaw tightening, the sigh before the storm, the specific way the keys hit the counter, had a head start. If you could detect the mood shift at stage 1, you could begin fawning at stage 1, before the eruption reached stage 5. The reading wasn't a gift. It was an early warning system calibrated by consequence. The effect: you walk into rooms and read faces before you read the situation. You detect displeasure that the person themselves hasn't expressed yet. And you begin adjusting, softening, accommodating, preemptively soothing, before anyone has asked you to. People think you're intuitive. They don't know your intuition is a surveillance system that was installed in a household where not reading the room had consequences you couldn't afford. Number 5. You don't just say what you mean. You explain, contextualize, justify, and pre-defend it. Because saying something without padding it feels like handing someone a weapon. The cause: in the original system, simple statements were intercepted and weaponized. A child who said, "I don't want to," without an essay of justification, was met with, "Why not?" in a tone that meant, "You'd better have a good reason." So the child learned to front-load the explanation. If you explain enough, the angry person has less to attack. The over-explanation is a preemptive shield. The effect: your texts are paragraphs, your answers are essays. Your no comes with 3 reasons, 2 apologies, and an alternative. Not because you're thorough, because every unexplained statement feels exposed. And exposed in the Fawn system means targetable. The brevity other people take for granted, saying no without justification, stating a preference without defense, feels to you like walking into a room without armor. And the exhaustion is specific. Every communication costs 3 times the energy it should, because every message passes through the Fawn filter first. You don't just write an email. You write the email, then you pad it, then you explain the padding, then you soften the explanation. By the time you've hit send, you've spent 20 minutes on a message that should have taken 2. Because brevity for the Fawn system is exposure, and exposure is where the danger lived. Number 6, you can say no to a friend. Maybe. But you cannot say no to someone whose energy reads as dangerous. The cause: the word no was removed from the Fawn vocabulary around threatening people. In the original system, no to the volatile parent was not a boundary. It was a trigger. The child learned, no is only safe when the person receiving it is safe. When the person is threatening, the only available word is yes. The effect: you can advocate for yourself in calm, low-stakes environments. But the moment someone's energy shifts, becomes intense, impatient, frustrated, loud, your no dissolves. Not because you don't have one, because the system classified no to dangerous people as a life-threatening action. And the classification was made so early and so deeply that overriding it feels not just uncomfortable, but existentially unsafe. You're not a pushover. You're a person whose survival system deleted a word from the dictionary in specific contexts, and those contexts keep showing up. Number 7. Someone says something that isn't funny, or something that's actually hurtful, and you laugh. The cause. Laughter was a de-escalation tool. In the original household, the child who could make the tense moment lighter, who could laugh at the right time, who could turn the tension into something manageable, reduced the danger. The laugh wasn't joy. It was social lubricant applied under duress. The effect: you laugh in meetings when the boss makes a cutting remark. You laugh on dates when someone says something dismissive. You laugh when your body is actually registering hurt, confusion, or anger. The laugh is automatic, disconnected from any actual amusement. It's a sound the Fawn system produces to signal: I'm safe. I'm not a threat. I found that funny. Please don't escalate. And the people around you think you have a good sense of humor. They don't know your sense of humor is a survival strategy wearing a smile. Number 8. Someone is angry, not necessarily at you, and your system launches into repair mode. The cause. In the original household, someone else's anger was everyone's problem. The parent's mood was the weather, and bad weather affected every person in the house. The child learned, if I can fix the mood, I can fix the weather. And fixing the weather meant safety for everyone, including themselves. The mood repair reflex wasn't empathy, it was emergency management. The effect: a colleague is frustrated about something unrelated to you, and you're already problem-solving, offering help, trying to lighten their load. A partner is angry about work, and you're managing their state before they've finished the sentence. The repair reflex fires at any anger, not just anger directed at you. Because in the original system, there was no such thing as anger that wasn't your responsibility. All anger was your weather, and your job was to make it pass. Number 9, you were about to say something, ask for something, need something, and then the other person shifted and became sharp, irritated, or cold, and your need disappeared. The cause. The child's needs were safe to express only when the environment was stable. The moment the environment became threatening, the needs were jettisoned, not postponed. Jettisoned, like cargo thrown from a ship in a storm. The child's system learned. In the presence of threat, your needs are the first thing to go. They are the most expendable part of the equation. The effect: you go into a conversation knowing what you want, but the moment the other person becomes difficult, your wants evaporate. You leave the meeting having agreed to things you didn't want. You leave the argument having conceded points you shouldn't have, and afterward, you can't even remember what you originally wanted. Because the Fawn system didn't just suppress the need, it erased it from memory. In the presence of hostility, there is no you, only the version that survives. And if you've ever wondered why you feel so empty after tense interactions, not just tired but hollow, this is why. The Fawn response didn't just manage the other person, it temporarily deleted you. Your wants, your boundaries, your perspective, your personhood, all of it jettisoned to make the survival version lighter and faster. And now you're standing in the aftermath, trying to remember who you were before the alarm went off. The emptiness isn't burnout, it's the feeling of having been temporarily erased. Number 10, the sign that reveals the engine underneath all the others. The argument ends, the tension dissolves, the dangerous moment passes, and the emotion that arrives isn't happiness, it isn't satisfaction, it isn't peace, it's relief. The specific relief of someone who was in danger and the danger passed, the exhale of a body that was bracing for impact and the impact didn't come, Not the warm relief of resolution, the cold relief of survival. You didn't resolve the conflict, you survived it. And the relief tells you which system was running. If the end of an argument feels like peace, you were in a disagreement. If it feels like relief, you were in a threat, and your body was fawning to get through it alive. And the loneliest part, nobody around you knows, because from the outside, you looked cooperative, reasonable, flexible, easy to work with. They saw someone who handled the situation gracefully. They didn't see someone whose survival system was running at full power underneath a performance of calm. The Fawn response is the most invisible trauma response because it looks like good behavior. And good behavior in a world that rewards compliance is never questioned. And this is the cruelest irony of the Fawn response. You get praised for it. People thank you for being so understanding. Bosses commend your flexibility. Partners appreciate your calm. The very thing that is costing you your selfhood is the thing the world rewards. So the Fawn response gets reinforced by every compliment, every "you're so easy to work with," every "I wish everyone were as reasonable as you." The applause is the trap, because every time the Fawn is praised, the real you gets a little harder to find. If you recognize the Fawn response in these 10 signs, here is the distinction that changes everything. Fawning is not kindness. Kindness is chosen. Fawning is automatic. Kindness comes from a place of safety. Fawning comes from a place of threat. And the difference is not what you do, it's what you feel while you're doing it. If you're agreeing because you genuinely agree, that's alignment. If you're agreeing because your body detected danger and your system produced compliance to survive, that's fawning. Same behavior, different engine. The Fawn response was brilliant. It kept you safe in a household where safety required constant performance. And the performance was so convincing that nobody, not even you, knew it was a performance. But you're not in that household anymore, and the person in front of you is not the person who installed the reflex. You can begin to notice the moments when the Fawn fires. Not to stop it immediately. That's not how survival systems update, but to see it, to feel the shift from me to survival version. And each time you see the shift, you create a small space between the trigger and the response. And in that space, for the first time, you get to choose. If you're doing this kind of inner work and want a structured way to track these patterns between videos, we've created a monthly healing tracker exclusively for our channel members. It's a tool that helps you log Fawn moments, boundary attempts, and nervous system shifts, so the progress that feels invisible becomes measurable. You can join using the Join button below this video. At Inner Lens, we name the survival strategies nobody told you were running. If this one resonated, the next video goes into the system that often installs the Fawn response, growing up with a narcissistic parent. It's right here.